Hey there guys, how you doing? So for this week's vlog, I wanted to talk about a part of myself that I've never really delved into in a video before, and that is the fact that I consider myself to be a collector. For as long as I can remember, ever since I was a kid, there was always something I was trying to collect, either having the complete set of this thing, whether it was Transformers or Power Rangers or Star Wars toys, Legos. Of course, as a kid, it was all very toy centric. I would come really close to completing the set or finishing this thing. It always bugged me when I could never quite make it. Fast forward to 2020, and I'm not much better off than I was back then. I don't know what it is. I've always had this desire to be able to have the complete thing. Over the years, I have since learned to rein in those spending urges. I have since adapted a long-term view of collecting where I have selected things nowadays that it's okay if it takes me a long time to get them, to be able to save up for especially the older items that are on my list. I have three primary interests that I'm focusing on collecting: Star Wars, Pokemon, surprise, surprise, right? And lastly, Alfred Hitchcock movies. So I want to go ahead and I want to talk about the Hitchcock stuff first, because that is definitely the more, shall I say, grown-up collecting goal I have. I'm a filmmaker, as many of you know. If this is your first time here, hi, I'm an indie filmmaker. These are my movies that I have made over the years. My favorite filmmakers that I've drawn the most inspiration from are George Lucas, again, Star Wars, and Alfred Hitchcock. I have a very high regard for Hitchcock in just the innovation he had with storytelling and just, of course, suspense and all that good stuff. As I've been buckling down to really get myself back into filmmaking full time, and wanting to make my own stuff again, I thought, I need to be studying the masters. Well, Hitchcock was, I think, probably the greatest filmmaker of all time. But anyway, I want to collect all of his movies so that I can watch them all, study them all. Thankfully, this is one of those things that there is a clear, finite set of items in this collection, as opposed to things like Star Wars or Pokemon, which are constantly putting out new things. So this is definitely a very attainable collecting goal that I have. So far, these are the ones I've got. One of those is one of those, bargain bin. Here's all of his old silent films or all the public domain ones that they could put together into a collection. I still have a long way to go on this one, especially his movies from the 40s and 50s. And actually, I have not finished watching everything in this collection. All of the feature-length movies, except for The Wrong Man, I just got that earlier this week, actually. So I have not watched that one yet. And then I still haven't finished watching all of season 1 of Alfred Hitchcock Presents. And then there are several of the older silent ones in that collection that I haven't gotten to yet. Again, a finite amount of things to collect, so this is one that I don't have much pressure on of trying to keep up. Next up, I am collecting Star Wars. Now, I'm not focusing on the figures and the toys and stuff. I'm focusing on the movies and shows. Now, this whole crazy filmmaking journey really began for me when I saw the original VHS release. Let me rephrase that. The final VHS release of the original versions of the original Star Wars trilogy. So I've got the VHS of the special editions, got a VHS of Episode 1, which was the last time they did a Star Wars movie on VHS, if I recall correctly, because we have the DVD of Episode 1, but when Episode 2 came out, there were no tapes because, DVD revolution was happening. So that always bugged me over the years. Like, we have the original 3, we got Episode 1 on tape, and then there's nothing left. It just felt so incomplete, and it bugged me so much. I have since come to terms with that, and we're all good. We move on. Of course, then we move on, got the DVDs of the prequel trilogy. I've got Season 1 of Clone Wars, Season 1 of Rebels, got the Clone Wars movie. Quick side fun story about the Clone Wars movie. That was released theatrically before the launch of the Clone Wars cartoon. It actually came out on my 21st birthday. So I went to the theater and dressed up in my Jedi robes, went to the theater to see Star Wars in the theater on my 21st birthday. And while I'm waiting in line to get my popcorn, one of the theater employees comes and grabs me and says, "Hey, come back out to the ticket booth." And he tells the girl behind the counter, "Give him the kid's price." Just about everyone there were the parents and then the kids. Like, most of the population there was the kids because it was a cartoon. So the reluctant parents, all the kids, everyone, the kids were like, "Sweet, look at that guy. He's dressed like a Jedi. It's so cool." And so the theater guy was like, "You're more of a kid at heart than all these kids here." So they refunded me the difference, gave me the kid's price for my ticket. That, best birthday ever. Speaking of Clone Wars, I also have the original Clone Wars cartoon, which came out between the releases of episodes 2 and 3. These are no longer considered canon thanks to Disney. Won't even get me started on the canon. Moving on. I've got some other gems in my collection. I've got the DVD releases of the Ewoks and Droids cartoons from the 80s. Those things are a sight to behold. The live-action Ewok TV specials, Caravan of Courage and The Battle for Endor. Love those. I remember watching those. I think I watched Caravan of Courage before I saw the original Star Wars movies and just didn't realize it was Star Wars. But yeah, so growing up, I vividly remember watching the Caravan of Courage movie. So that, again, some nostalgia factor for me. Showed it to Ace this past winter, actually, when she was sick, and just kind of continued the tradition. Yeah, it's a fun movie. But speaking of things that are not canon, oh yeah, I've got the Star Wars Holiday Special, y'all. So I made my own DVD. I found some fan-made cover art on a Google search and just printed that off. It was a couple years ago now, someone had uploaded the full movie on Facebook video. I may have also found it on YouTube. I don't remember where exactly I downloaded it from. So I downloaded that, made my own little DVD of it. Nice and high quality craftsmanship here. And of course, we've got Solo, Rogue One, Episode 7 and 8, all on Blu-ray, because, modern. With the new direction that Disney's going with, constantly making new Star Wars stuff, this is going to have a little less of a finite factor to it than I had originally intended when I decided to start making sure I collected all of these. But, yeah, it'll end eventually, right? Right? Alright, now last but not least, collecting Pokemon cards. This is definitely on the other end of the finite collectibles to infinite collectible spectrum. Because, yeah, Pokemon shows no sign of stopping. So I am limiting what facets of the cards I'm trying to collect. I've got a couple complete sets. XY Evolutions set. That's kind of a commemorative re-release of the 20th anniversary from the original cards. Then the first set I ever fully completed, and I think this may have been the first collection of anything I've got that I was able to complete the whole thing. It was a small 34 card special set called Double Crisis. I was able to get them all between buying the packs and trading with people at League. That's my very first set I've ever completed, so it's a special one there too. I've done a previous vlog on this, but I've got my Venusaur collection. Again, my favorite Pokemon, Venusaur. I'm trying to collect all of the Venusaur cards. Since I made that last video though, I have decided to expand that a little bit to include the entire Venusaur line. So we got Bulbasaur, Ivysaur, and Venusaur. So I've made myself a checklist spreadsheet, did all the research I could, figure out what was available, what different versions there were out there. And then I've got some other stuff in my collection binder, League promos. And there's one certain artist that I really like, Asako Ito. The artwork that they do is all knitted and crocheted of each of the Pokemon. So I've got, I want to collect all of those. Those are cute. So just, little small facets. I'm not like trying to complete all of the sets of all of the things. Aspects that are not only attainable, but also that I would feel good about having. Now, that said, one that I'm very close to completing, just in time for a whole new thing to be added, I've decided to create a Pokedex. Have one card of every single Pokemon. There are well over 800 of them now. The new games, Sword and Shield, just came out last month. Their cards come out next month. Originally, I was wanting to try to get all of the current Pokemon collected before the new ones came out. I'm going to be just short. I think I'm 38 cards short. So yeah, those are my collections. I just felt like sharing. It's just something fun. It's just one of those little things that I just kind of let sit on the back burner. As stuff comes up, I'll grab it. I don't know. It's the little things in life, right, that help you keep your sanity. And with all the craziness and things of life, it's nice to have these little things that you can kind of say, hey, at least, life is terrible right now, but hey, I've got this one little thing I enjoy at least, so it's not all bad. So how about you? Do you collect anything? Let me know in the comments. Although because of COPPA, there's probably not comments available on YouTube if you're watching it there. So go to zacklawrence.com. That's where I've got comments are enabled there. I have all of my videos posted there in one form or another. That includes all my vlogs, all my short films, all that good stuff. Another place I have this where you can leave a comment is going to be on Patreon, patreon.com/zacklawrence. That's where people support me on an ongoing basis with my short films. Again, 2020 is my year of one short film every month. So if you want to join the awesome people there, patreon.com. Links are all in the description below. One of the fun perks I have on my Patreon is if you pledge at a certain level, I will name a character after you in a future film. Well, January short film, The Whistling Kid, a Delantar story, has the first of the characters named after a patron. The Whistling Kid's sidekick is named Benson. That's named after my patron, Doc Benson. Huge shout out to him. He's been supporting me since I did Indie Christian Review. So it's about time that I finally found a character to name after him. So yeah, thanks, Doc. Again, all those links are in the description. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one.